Okay, now that you have learned the positive elements, plus ammonium, and the negative ides, we're moving on to the next group, which is the eights. Okay, so the most important thing you need to know about eights is that eights have oxygens. So just as an example, if we have phosphate, okay, that's the element phosphorus, and then there's going to be a certain number of oxygens, and then there's going to be a charge. Okay, carbonate will be a carbon with a certain number of oxygens and a charge. Right? Sulfate, chlorate, nitrate. Okay, it's the element plus oxygens, and the whole thing has a charge. So let's take a look at the trick. Actually, you can write it down in your notes, and then we'll put it on the periodic table. So if you just do CNOF, okay, now remember, you already had -3, -2, -1 here for the ides. So on top of that, you are going to write, starting over the C, 3, 4, 4, 3, -2, -3, -2, -1. Okay, so 34, 43, -2, 3, 2, 1. So the N, O, and F are the same for the charge as the ides are. Okay, but then we're adding above the C here, the -2. 34, 43. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so if you take out your periodic table and we write the trick in here, we have -2, -3, -2, -1, and then 34, 43. Okay, what does this mean? This is obviously the charge. Okay. This is the number of oxygens. Okay. So, by remembering 34, 43, -2, 3, 2, 1, you are going to be able to know a whole bunch of 8 ions. Okay. So, for example, if we go back to the ones we had before, phosphate. Okay. So, phosphate is PO. So now let's look. Here's phosphorus, PO4, -3. Right? This is what the trick does for us. PO4, -3. Okay. Carbonate. CO. Here's carbon right here. CO3, -2. Okay, and you can know silicate, arsenate, sulfate, selenate, tellerate, fluorate, chlorate, bromate, iodate, all by knowing that one trick of 34, 43, -2, 3, 2, 1. However, we have one exception, okay, that doesn't work for the trick. Okay, nitrate is NO3 -1. Okay, now if you look here, the trick would tell us NO4 -3. That is not nitrate. It is NO3 -1. However, we have a trick within a trick. So put a little X on the nitrogen to remind you that nitrate doesn't follow the trick. Nitride does, it's N-3, but nitrate doesn't. However, if you just move it over here to column 7, you can steal their trick, okay, because it is NO3 -1, okay? Okay, now, the 8s are not the only ones we're going to learn that have an element plus oxygens. Okay, so what you're going to need to do now, and on the worksheet for this, is if I give you, for example, I don't know, ClO3 minus 1. You cannot just assume that that's chlorate. You have to check. So ClO3 minus 1. Okay, that's good. Chlorate. But if I gave you SO3 minus 2, let's check if that is sulfate. Here's sulfur. SO4 minus 2. So this is not sulfate. So for now, until we learn what SO3 is, you are just going to write not applicable because we haven't learned that ion yet. Okay, so you can't just assume that because it has oxygens that it's an 8. You have to check, because I am going to give you ones that are not. Okay, so you have to check. Okay, so the next worksheets that go with this would be ion worksheet 3A and 3B. So you will just do 3A. All right.